Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Now, here comes another pawsome guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.
Pause up, pet pals. Welcome to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Hey, calling all dog and cat lovers. This episode is dedicated to you. First, we're going to chat with Carol Bryant of A Dose of Reality. And later, we're going to get catty in a good way with Danielle Bales of the Humane Society of the United States. So first up, our first guest, she doesn't need to wear a superhero cape, but she does proudly sport a tattoo on her left bicep that reads, "My heart beats dog." Those 4 words perfectly describe our special guest's mission in life. She's the founder of Dose of Reality, which I'm going to stumble on, Dose of Reality, and she is the past president of the Dog Writers Association of America. Please give pause and applause to the one and only Carol Bryant. Welcome to the show, Carol.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Alvin.
you. Hey, this is my little Alvin, my 11-month-old. He'll be a year old soon. American Cocker Spaniel, who is loving the new year and is the puppiest puppy in all of Puppyland.
Puppiest puppy. That
Yes.
sounds. Alvin. I have to get right off the bat for all of you on YouTube. Thank you for being subscribers. For the rest of you, just go to Arden Moore channel, easy breezy, and you get to see Alvin with Carol Bryant. I have something you may never have known about me, Carol.
Uh-oh.
When I was a kid, I had 2 older sisters, and we were in Crown Point, Indiana, and we got in a big snow storm. So everybody in the neighborhood couldn't go anywhere, so we started having plays, and we lip sync, Karen, Deb, and I, to the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I was Alvin.
I now have even more respect for you. The fangirly level went up a few notches. Yeah.
Hey, let's dive in. Dose of Reality, Dose of Reality, and you can spell it, say it, because it doesn't just roll off your tongue.
Right. So what would you like to know all about me and Alvin with Dose of Reality? How we got started?
Yeah. So let's go back in time. I was doing my best Alvin Chipmunk imitation in the young. But what made you what steered you toward the world of pets, the pet industry, and specifically dogs?
I'm now 30 plus years with Cocker Spaniels, which makes me 40. No, but
You're ageless.
I'm ageless. I was always a writer, but I was doing medical writing. I was doing healthcare writing. And when I lost my first Cocker Spaniel, I decided to switch gears. I always loved, remember Dog Fancy back in the day?
Yes, it's now called Dog Stir because they're trying to sound hip.
Right. I would absorb that from cover to cover. I just was obsessed. And there wasn't a lot out there back in the day.
Right.
And we have these magazines and a couple of periodicals and that. And I just wanted to be a voice for the pet parent. And I just thought, you only live once. And when I lost my first Cocker Spaniel, I thought, I'm switching careers. I'm switching gears and I'm switching careers. And that's what I did. I never looked back.
But in a way, you're still continuing that, only your focus is on the four-leggers because health and wellness is still a big deal. And how did you come up with the name Dose of Reality? I love it. And spell it for people.
Yeah, so it's Fido, F-I-D-O-S-E, so Dose of Reality. I wanted it to be reality-based, get rid of the bunk. And none of these, it's like I tell people, when you get that bag of dog food, turn it around. Don't look at that cute dog running on the front that looks so healthy through a field. Read the ingredients. I feel like read the ingredients for Cocker Spaniels. This is kind of like, let's just remove all the junk, what all of the fakers are saying and get to the bottom of what people really want to know. They want their dogs to live longer. They want their dogs to live longer and healthier, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I insert my voice.
Well, you've done a lot in the pet world and you're still younger than me, so that's good. But you've been part of a group called Blog Pause. You want to talk about that? Because that sort of opened up.
It did. That was actually, Blog Pause was like the first network that gave serious voice to pet bloggers. And what started is just, hey, everybody, I'm blogging about my ferret. Nobody looked at you funny. Blogging about my cat who paddle boards. It's okay. I'm blogging about Great Danes who ski. Okay, whatever floats your boat. And once a year, we got together for conferences, and suddenly brands in the pet industry started going, hey, we want to be a part of that because they know that we had the pet parent ear. And it really just grew into this empire that eventually, and sadly, what happened was it got sold to PetSmart and Chewy, and I think it sort of it's lost its way in the vortex of online land. But there's now the pet blogger in and of itself. Really, I think you can attest to this. Pet writers, pet bloggers, pet journalists. We've arrived.
Yeah, but you were part of that
Yeah.
wave bringing it
Yes.
in because I grew up, I spent 20 years as a daily newspaper reporter. I covered space shuttles, serial killers, and Super Bowls.
Wow.
And I grew up in that context of writing. And so I'm adapting obviously to the blog post world. But you
Yes.
came from a health background, so you had to make sure your information was solid and validated. And
Exactly.
to me, whether it's a blog post, it's the pages of Dogster, or in a book, it still matters, right?
Yeah, and credibility is everything to me. I just, it's not an opinion blog. It's fact based. I look at it myself as just a digital journalist. What I
Good. I
would do,
like that. You are a
you
digital
know,
journalist.
I
Yes.
mean, I get the resources. I talk to the pros, and it's the kind of thing that when you're lost in a moment, maybe you're sitting in an emergency room with your dog and you're Googling. A lot of people find my blog in that circumstance.
And let's talk about fact from fiction. So,
Yeah.
why should they be reading your blog post on Fidos of Reality rather than Dr. Joe Bob Billy's website?
Mine, Phytos of Reality really is a whole picture view. So I'm going to have different veterinarians and different experts and Cocker Spaniel moms and dads who have been there and done that. And not saying their way is the right way, but it gives you a breadth of opinion. It gives you options so that if you want to know what's the best food for your dog, you're not going to come to my blog and say you only could feed this and you're bad if you feed kibble.
You start a food fight, girl.
Yeah, none of that. I mean, I'm showing you options because, like people, as you know, different strokes for different folks. All dogs are different, and what works for one doesn't work for another. So that's why it's reality based. So Billy Bob Joe Doctor is great, and I think
If he really
know,
is a doctor.
he
Yeah, there
really
you
is
go.
a doctor. But I want you to be able to source back everything I'm writing about.
All right. There is something on your site I see, and I'm very curious about it. And it's called Dog Minder Canine Health and Wellness Journal. What is that all about?
Yeah, I can't. What a perfect cue. So this is the dog minder. And what it is every year I start a new journal on January 1st for my dogs. And what it
Okay.
is what's happening at home with them. What are they eating today? What kind of weird things went down? When did they get their vaccines? What's their temperature? What do their eyes look like? So when I go to the vet, I'm not like, well, what happened with my dog 2 weeks ago? What color was his poop? Because yeah, poop happens. We all talk poop. So I
I
decided to
love being talking poop. In my
poop
first
is
aid
so
classes,
fun.
everybody becomes a
Yeah.
poopologist.
Yes. So what I did was I put together the dog minder and you could literally track like easy peasy your dog's medication, their vitamins, their meals. And then there's plenty of space for you to write notes in. And the coolest of cool, and this gives me tears every time, pet parents were telling me during the pandemic when you had to sit in your car and the vet tech would come out to take your dog in and you couldn't go, they would hand off the dog minder with the dog and all the notes were in it for the vet.
Oh my
Um,
God, I love
and
that.
it's not a prolific book. It's nothing that's going to win an award or anything. It's just there's a lot of tips in the beginning. I give you some helpful tips, but it's a place that if you're having an emergency, you have to evacuate, you have a pet sitter, you're headed to the vet, you just kind of pop this in your bag
I
and
like
go.
that. Hey, we're speaking with Carol Bryant. She is a force to be reckoned with in the dog world in a very great way. She is the founder of Fidos of Reality and so much more. We're going to dive in even deeper after we take this break. You all know the drill. We're just going to sit and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Four Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I got my good friend here, Carol Bryant. I'm trying to think, we've probably known each other at least 10 years, maybe.
I'm going to
Um,
even go for I'm going to go like 2 decades.
Woo! Okay, yeah.
Maybe.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. And I've always been impressed by you because you're not static. You're not status quo. You're always looking how to make things better this planet for our pets. And I mean, there's some things you've navigated that you didn't have. You kind of were a pioneer in your own way. I mean, blogging, you did it in its infancy.
Yeah.
Any tips you could give people that are thinking about doing a blog post, whether it is in the pet field or others? Any, like, what would be Carol Bryant's top 3 blog tips?
Yeah. Find a niche or a niche, depending how you say it. Just saying dogs isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah.
You need to hyper focus. So I talk about healthy living for Cocker Spaniels and their canine friends. Maybe you
Okay.
want to talk about gerbils. Maybe somebody else wants to talk about. I really think a great blog would be how to live the big dog lifestyle, because I feel like when big dogs travel, especially, like they
Oh,
get the
that's good. Yeah.
right. And I think someone need, unless that's out there. So number one, decide what you want.
Okay.
Really, number two, really love it, because you're going to live with it. You just can't, it can't be fleeting. Be really sure and do a self-assessment. Can I write about this? If I had to write about it every day for the next 5 to 10 years, would I want to do it?
Very
And
good. All right. There's
number
the passion.
three is get some online help from an expert. You can Google it. You could do probably this. Udemy has courses. YouTube, pretty much everything is online. You can buy my book, Pet Blogging for Love or Money.
Say it again. What is it?
Pet Blogging for Love and Money.
Okay.
And I co-authored that with Maggie Martin, who's also a prolific blogger from Oh My Dog Blog, and that's available on Amazon. So I think if you have a passion as a start, but I'll tell you, Arden, blogging is a long-term game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So number 4 bonus tip: have lots of patience.
And maybe have a supportive team that has
Yes.
2, 3, or 4 legs, right?
Exactly. Oh, I couldn't do this if I didn't have a dog by my side. This wouldn't be happening.
So,
Absolutely.
what is one thing that people would be surprised that you either do? Are you secretly a pickleball champion? Do you make the best sourdough bread post COVID? What
Oh
would be
my
something
God.
non-dog related that people don't know about Carol Bryant?
So I'll give you one and then a bonus.
I love this. She always gives me a bonus. I'm a good girl.
Bonus.
Yeah,
I'm all
yeah.
about bonus tips. When I was traveling to Global Pet Expo one year, my lovely wife applied for me on my behalf to Worst Cooks in America, and they wanted me on the show. I went through all the rounds, and they wanted me on the show on the Food Network. I made it, and what happened, Arden, and this is what might surprise people, I turned it down
Oh,
because I would have to be away for 8 weeks.
oh my gosh.
The prize was $25,000, which is great, but you would have to have lived in these cramped, close quarters with strangers and bunk beds for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And I couldn't leave my dog for that long. It was
So
like,
how are you at cooking now?
oh my God, we've had the fire department at our residence twice over the years. And because I'm a distracted cook. I
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of put it in the oven and walk away, and you can't do that. There's a lot of horror stories. My significant other was
Well, give a shout out
proud
to
to share.
Darling. That's cool. How long you guys
She
been married now?
30 years. 30
Excellent,
years.
excellent.
I mean,
That's pretty incredible. That's pretty
it's a
incredible.
blink. It's a blink. So that's probably would be my she's my rock and my everything. But to apply for Worst Cooks in America, yeah,
I didn't know that. If
yeah.
you ever invite us over to dinner, I think we're going to go to the restaurant, right?
We're gonna DoorDash it when you come. We're gonna
Okay.
DoorDash for sure. We're doing takeout.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about what do you see the world for our dogs in the next 5 years? If you could crystal ball, because you've seen a lot of things that have happened, but what's some things that are pretty awesome that you think will be happening or possum? And what
Yeah.
are some things that you feel we need to keep our eye closely on so it doesn't happen? What's your
Yeah.
take on the next 5 years for dogs in America?
Okay, brilliant question for starters. I really feel hopeful about getting closer to some of these dreadful cancers that are taking our dogs to
Good.
treatments, maybe not so much cures, but treatments. And there are such brilliant veterinarians. Dr. Sue Ettinger, she's Dr.
Oh,
Sue,
yeah.
cancer vet, leading the charge. I'm such a fangirl of hers. Some people want to meet Justin Timberlake. I'm like, I want to meet Dr. Sue. I really
Yeah,
think
Ettinger,
that,
everybody. Ettinger to look her up.
yeah. Yeah, I think she's really on the cutting edge. There's so many new treatments for canine cancers. The technologies that are there, I really feel like so many people in that have the dollars at these companies are realizing pets really are members of the family. Um, that's what I think is one of the biggest things I see in the next. There's even blood screening now. There's this
Yep.
onco canine test that is right now that if you think, just screening your dog for cancer. And I hope within the next 5 to 7 years, when my dog is senior, the technology will be more advanced. What I'm sad for is the state of affairs in veterinary medicine,
Okay.
how many vets are leaving the profession, how the suicide rate is up with
Yeah.
veterinarians.
And for as an aside, everyone, Carol certainly knows this, but of all the medical professionals out there, the highest suicide rate is not the primary physician, is not your surgeon, it is your veterinarian.
Yeah,
Because maybe Carol, you can expand on that, but what a tough job because there's a
yeah,
lot of emotional tugs and there is
yeah,
economic euthanasia and they
yes,
do the procedure, but it does leave a mark on them.
yes, exactly. And that's a lot. And the worst in people also came out during COVID, and a lot of vets and vet techs, veterinary nurses left the profession because of just bad behavior. I think that the dogs, yeah, let's train them. Let's train our people. I think a lot of pet parents need some manners training, and I'm just going to
I
put that out
agree. Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Wow. So, what's ahead for you in 2023? What's something that makes you wag your tail?
Oh, okay. So, other than raising Alvin, he just completed his first year of life. I'm looking forward
What a
to.
lucky dog. I mean,
He's
really.
the best. He's the
Alvin.
best. He's the best. And this year I plan to finish a book. I'm writing a fiction book, a
Oh,
pet related, dog related fiction book.
cool.
It's sort of it's the kind of book that I hope is a page turner and don't want to put down. And I'm
Rather than a
launching,
page chewer like your dogs will do.
which my dog does very well. And I'm also launching a pet copywriting business this year because I have nothing else to do.
So, what
Um,
is this going to be called? We've got a couple
smart,
minutes left.
yeah, yes, smartdogcopy.com. And what I'm going to be doing, I saw over the years all these different brands that are going after pet parents and they just don't know how to talk to them. And so I want from everything I've done for myself with success, and I've helped some of the biggest brands in the world basically grow their
Morton Salt before you
Morton
land.
Salt.
See, I read your bio. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Harvey's and Zymox and PetSmart and Chewy and I want to do this for the small to medium sized business to help
Oh,
them out.
nice. So,
So
what is the
companies,
difference between being a good writer and being a
yeah,
good copywriter?
getting them to make the purchase. Getting the right now,
Oh,
one is more educational contest focused, and the other one is really just knowing what's in the pet parent's mind to really give them the information so that they'll say, my dog absolutely needs that, and I trust it because see, I've got ethics, so I'm not going to work with brands I don't believe in.
yeah. Well, can you give me a phrase that would be like, yeah, I'm in? What's a
Oh,
good
wow.
verbiage?
Wow. So how about my heart beats dog?
Okay.
That's at the crux of who I am. So everything that I do, if I'm going to get involved in this, is this go back to my mantra. It's got to be something that's helpful for the dogs and not just a fly by night company or somebody who says they've got the next best thing.
So,
Yeah.
how do people find you? Tell us, we got about 30 seconds left.
So honestly, if you Google Carol Bryant dogs, you'll probably pretty much find me. I'm on Instagram, everywhere on the entire internet. I'm fidoseofreality.com. So no matter what network you're on, that's where you'll find me. And I always talk to people. If you email me, you have a question, absolutely, I'd love to talk to you.
Oh man, the time has gone too
Oh,
quickly, but
yeah.
we're going to have you back because there's so much more about Carol Bryant that we need to know. And hey, everybody, stick around because after the break, we are going to get catty with a purpose with Danielle Bales of the Humane Society of the United States. She is a cat trivia whiz. So sit, stay. We'll be right back.